Welcome back to CryptosRUs. I am George. We're all George. So today, Bitcoin is the topic. Bitcoin is a caged bull waiting to escape. And I'm going to talk about what's going on with Bitcoin, some big events that's coming, and what some people are thinking about where Bitcoin will go. And of course, there's other news I want to cover, and there's just a whole lot going on today. Today is a pretty darn good day, the start of the new week, and I believe this week can be absolutely fantastic, not only for Bitcoin, but also for altcoins and crypto market in general. So thanks for tuning in, guys. As always, smash the like, subscribe to the channel. 2 streams every day, 11:30 and 8 p.m. Central Standard Time. So make sure you hit that notification bell and follow me on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. All right. So let's get started. Let's dive right in. Those of you guys who are already in here, welcome. Let me change my screen. Here we go. All right. So Bitcoin is right at 60,000, exactly at 60,000. And it's been going up and down, up and down, up and down. So you can see that clearly it is like a caged bull right now. There's just some forces that's trying to make it stick below 60,000, and I believe Bitcoin is ready to pop and escape from that cage, and that is because there is a big event coming up in 2 days. I think you guys know what that event that is. That is the Coinbase IPO, which is set to be listed, this direct listing, April 14th, in 2 days. This is enormous. Everyone, all the stock traders, Wall Street, CNBC, everyone is looking at this, looking at what Coinbase, what their shares are going to fetch, right? And this could be a huge catalyst for a lot of things. It's a synergy. Obviously, the better the Bitcoin does, the better the IPO will do. But the better the IPO does and Coinbase does, it's also helped Bitcoin and everything else that's on Coinbase in a big way, right? And I do believe today, tomorrow, we may see some explosive movement because of this. So obviously, this is the biggest thing, biggest news of this week. A lot of exchange tokens I've been talking about has been pumping up because of this event, because they're being evaluated against Coinbase right now. But overall, man, this will be absolutely enormous. People are predicting Coinbase will be around 100 billion by the time it's done, but who knows? Who knows? It could be even higher. It could be higher. It could be much higher, right? Or maybe it just stalls out right at the beginning, like a lot of these hyped up IPOs, but then eventually it finds its floor and goes higher. Who knows? Who knows? But right now, I do know that Bitcoin is right at 60,000. It looks like it's really, really, really ready to pop, ready to escape that 60,000 and make the next leg up. And you know what? We still have more than 2 weeks for Bitcoin to make some big moves in April, because April traditionally is a very bullish month for Bitcoin. It tends to go up 20, 30, 40% over the last 11 years. There's been many, many years, most years, where Bitcoin has gone up 20, 30, 40%. And we haven't made that move in April yet. We've been pretty stagnant. So we will see within the next 2.5 weeks what may occur. So you can see that Coinbase timed this IPO perfectly. They timed it in the perfect year, the last year of the 4-year cycle, very early, not like the tail end of 2021. And also they timed it to be in April, a traditionally very, very bullish month for Bitcoin. So none of this is a coincidence. This is all planned out perfectly by Brian Armstrong and the rest of his crew at Coinbase. Pretty exciting. Now, besides this, what else is going on? Well, according to Bloomberg, this is how I borrowed their title. Bitcoin is a cage bull ready to escape at 60,000. But what are they looking at? Well, they're looking at this chart, and they're looking at this Bollinger Band over here. And you could see that when it went below this 13.8 mark, that's when Bitcoin really, really started rallying up in a big, big way. Here is a top right around 100. That's when Bitcoin took a breather, came down again, went up, down. This is like just an average, it's an indicator of a moving average, basically, right? So people, chartists and stuff, study this all the time, and they're noting that right now, because of how Bitcoin has been going sideways, not making a whole lot of moves, you can see that this Bollinger Band, indicator is going back down to to almost the same level before where it started really going up. And even if you didn't go all the way down, even at this case, you could see it just touched the line and it started winding up, right? So everything is indicating a huge move up, how Bitcoin, this cage bull, is ready to escape and pop out. So that is also pretty interesting. And of course, we also have a ton of Bitcoin ETFs. In fact, there is now 9 applications waiting to be approved by the SEC. The latest one is from Galaxy Digital. They filed one in Canada, which I believe is approved, but now they're filing in US. But of course, Van Eyck is one of them, and there's 7 more, that's waiting to be approved. And many are predicting that the SEC just cannot delay anymore. There's no reason they could give, especially when Canada already approved Bitcoin ETFs. And when you look at the entire market, how basically every single company and institution is coming up with the Bitcoin strategy, it's really hard to say whatever they were saying about, not having good custody service. It's too manipulated because it's worldwide and this and that. There was a lot of excuses, but at this point in time, there's really nothing they can say. And plus, Bitcoin is about 6 times bigger than when the first Bitcoin ETF application was submitted. So big difference there. So this could also be a big catalyst, because if we do hear, this is actually the first application, the SEC is set to announce something in the near future. I don't know the exact date, but this could also be a huge catalyst forward. If a Bitcoin ETF gets approved in the US, all eyes on US, then, around the world, everyone's going to come out their ETF. And ETFs are not like futures. They're actually backed by Bitcoin. So the more people that buy shares of ETFs, the more that these fund companies have to buy Bitcoin, right? So it's very different than if Bitcoin futures, that's all settled in cash, basically paper Bitcoin. This is actually legit Bitcoin trading. So this is also very, very positive. What else is there? Well, Microstrategy, of course, is making news or headlines. They will pay their board of directors in Bitcoin. Well, why not? They're already all 100% in Bitcoin. So this, of course, makes sense. Michael has been buying Bitcoin left and right, 15 million, billion here, 15 million there. I mean, just like all over the place. He's not even buying the dips. He's just simply dollar cost averaging like a true holder, except he's doing with a few $1 billion of the Bitcoin. Now he made headlines saying that he's going to pay his directors in Bitcoin. So why not? Right? And this could be an example for everyone else that that's following in his footsteps. This could be the start of something new. But here's the interesting thing: not everyone is a fan. Not everyone is a fan of MicroStrategy. I just saw this. I could not believe this. You know how there's certain banks that does not allow you to buy, let's say Bitcoin through Coinbase or something. They have a problem with it. Look at this. HSBC now bans customer from buying MicroStrategy shares. So you can't even buy stocks now, according to HSBC. That is totally ridiculous. I don't know how they could get away with that. I honestly don't. I don't know if there's going to be some kind of lawsuit for this, because this is just getting ridiculous. That not only are they trying to prevent people from buying Bitcoin directly, okay, I get maybe they can come up with some law or some regulation or say something, but now to ban you from buying legitimate publicly traded company shares, that's a different story. So I don't know. This is just 100% ridiculous to me. So we will see. We will see what the end result is. Now, what else is there? Well, Robert Kiyosaki writer of Rich Dad Poor Dad, now he predicts Bitcoin will be at $1.2 million in 5 years. In 5 years. So that will be after the next halving event. So probably not this cycle, but who knows? This cycle never ends. It's a super cycle. It'll just continue on until the next halving event. But this will be 5 years. I'm not sure if Robert really is aware of the halving events and so forth. I think he just threw this out there. But Robert is he's a big big gold bug and real estate bug, and now he's a Bitcoin bug. I'm getting all twisted. The reason being, just like everyone else, he has this viewpoint where cash is trash, just like what Ray Dalio said, because he sees exactly what's been happening, right? All this money that's being printed, there is going to be consequence, but he goes down and breaks it further and says how, pension funds and all these things are just going to be, they're going to be out. They're going to be out of money. So, what is the world going to basically do? And he shared how he bought Bitcoin 9,000. So that was back in 2000, probably 2020, actually, I would think. He said he wished he bought it at 10 cents like most people did. I wish I bought it at 10 cents. I wish I bought it at $1 or anything under $100. But anyways, but he's also one of the guys that says that Bitcoin bugs and gold bugs should not fight each other, because we're ultimately we're buying and holding it for the same reason, right? So this whole debate or this ongoing thing with, say, like Peter Schiff, who keeps bashing Bitcoin, and all the Bitcoin guys keep laughing at Peter Schiff because he's been basically wrong. He missed out on so many opportunities. But really everyone should just get along. But from my perspective, obviously if you look at gold's performance over the last 11 years, has not been doing well. Now, some people argue, well, you're looking at paper gold versus physical gold. Yeah, you have to judge it by something. I'm judging it by the index price, which is supposed to be representative of both. So I can't go beyond that. But if you're looking at the gold index price, it is now lower than where it was 11 years ago, which means that it's a horrible store of value, which means that it has not hedged against inflation at all, which is why I think a lot of people, especially big companies, corporations, and investment funds and pensions and family offices, they're all looking to replace gold with Bitcoin at this point. So, but anyways, that's Robert's viewpoint. All right, so that's Bitcoin, right? There's many bullish things that's coming with Bitcoin every single day, every single week. There's something to talk about, and that's because it's just a very exciting time. Everyone is bullish, everyone is feeling good, and there's just so much coming for Bitcoin. Now, there's a lot of other things that's going on in the crypto world. As you guys know, it's not just Bitcoin. So, one project I've been talking about a lot, and that's Binance Coin. And look at where they are now. They're at $90 billion just yesterday. When I talked about them, I think they were at $76 billion. I just created a video yesterday saying how they will flip with Ethereum. And now they've come up even a little more, and by this time tomorrow, they could be above $100 billion. So Binance is just literally unstoppable at this point. And look at what they're doing. They're now coming out with tokenized stocks. Yes, we have heard of projects that create synthetic things, like you could tokenize stocks, synthetic stocks. Now Binance is doing it on their own. They're like, screw it, we're not going to miss out on this market. So the very first one they will be listing is Tesla. They will be coming out with a synthetic Tesla stock that will be tradable on Binance. Just think about it. Wow. And once that comes out, I'm sure they're going to list out other ones like Apple and Microsoft and Amazon or whoever. And they'll probably apply some leverage to it or have an up or down token that gives you 3 times the exposure and so forth. But this is what Binance does. This is what CZ does. Their hands are not locked, right? Like Coinbase and others, because they're overseas. But they're at the forefront of everything. Anything that's a trend, Binance gets themselves into, and they become the big powerhouse. And this is why Binance continues to go up and up and up and up and up. Right now, You know, obviously Coinbase IPO has effect on BNB, but everything else they're doing, including an upcoming token burn that should be massive. This is what's driving Binance higher and higher and higher and higher. And you know what? Within I don't know, before we know it, they could be tied at Ethereum and maybe even higher. You know, within a very short amount of time. Who knows? Their growth is just astronomical right now. Astronomical. All right, the last thing I want to cover is this. I didn't even know about it. Stellar's price has been going up. And that's because I think Ripple started ripping up. Ripple is at $1.35, up 73%. But, you know, Stellar started coming up. Not as much, but they came up today. They came down, and that's because of this. They need to implement a protocol upgrade because there's nodes that just go offline for, like, I don't know, for no apparent reason, including nodes run by the Stellar Development Foundation. This is pretty bad. This is pretty bad. I didn't hear anyone else talk about this, right? So they're implementing a upgrade. So sometimes you just don't know, right? A project has been around for a long time. You kind of just assume that they know what they're doing, right? But sometimes it's really hard to tell. It's really hard to tell, especially when you don't have a lot of usage. A lot of these new projects don't have a lot of usage. You just don't know whether or not things are working like they should. But this is another news I want to talk about. Yeah. All right. So that's pretty much it in terms of what I want to share. Now, before I get in Q&A, I do have a new sponsor, new channel sponsor, at least for this next month. And some of you guys have heard of this project before. They're called Benchmark Protocol, which is interesting. They're coming out with something, or I should say they came out with something that's like a stable coin, but it's not pegged to US dollar. So this is the first project that is actually pegging their token to something else. You know, most stable coins are all USD. Everything is USD. But what happens to USD? Well, then that stable coin is also messed up, right? So that's what Benchmark Protocol is trying to do. They're trying to prevent catastrophe, really, with the USD and stablecoins overall. So they have come out with the Mark token, which is supply elastic, which self-adjusts, rebalances, and rebases itself based on market conditions and based on the SDR. Now, I have no idea what the SDR is. I had no idea that this existed. But the SDR, which is created by the IMF, which is a big organization for around the world, you know, basically they came out with this thing that's basically judging different currencies, right? This is kind of like their underlying emergency asset. So you have the US dollar in there, UK pound, Japanese yen, euro, and Chinese yuan. So the purpose of this is that if one currency, you know, really devalues or inflates or something, that this overall SDR will basically balance itself out, right? It's not just using one currency, it's using 5 different major currencies. And Benchmark Protocol is pegged to that. So rather than being pegged to a US dollar, they're pegged to the SDR. And they do have some creative things going on. So according to this, they will basically rebalance their supply within a 5-hour window after the CBOE VEX settles, basically every single day, right? And if somehow their Mark token is really off from this SDR price, then they will basically readjust and rebase based on a 10-day sequence. So that's basically what they're doing. They're trying to be as close as possible to SDR, and they self-adjust. And the purpose of this is, of course, for DeFi, right? You basically give DeFi projects more stability and something different that's, you know, seems like everything is based off of USD. Now, they also did introduce native staking, which they have their new X mark. It's more liquid staking. So once you stake, not only is it used for basic governance purpose, but also you could use it for DeFi purposes. So that is Benchmark Protocol in a nutshell. If you want to learn more about them, their URL is in the description of this video. All right, that is it. Now, let's talk about, or let's go into Q&A. Let's talk about what's going on in the world of crypto, I mean, besides Bitcoin, I mean, Binance Coin, you have Uniswap that jumped up huge today, 24%. I didn't even notice that last night. So you do have some very high movers today. Looking at Tron also came up a little bit. What else is there? I know I talked about PancakeSwap, how they were very undervalued yesterday. They're up a little bit, but pretty significantly for the week. And you go down the list, the graph is coming up a little bit. Chili's is finally coming back up. You got some good movers today, but some that are in the red. So it's kind of balancing itself out. Look at Flow. Flow is up 10% today. And look at Voyager. People kept asking me about Voyager. Why is it not moving? Why is it stuck at $4? Well, look at it. It's up 24% today. Is it due to the Coinbase IPO? Possibly. Or it could just be that they've been so stagnant for so long, now it's their turn, because you see that often, right? Often within the space. So that's what the entire market cap is looking like. In fact, you look at it, it's still up 1%, despite that there's so many reds, but they're minimal, right? The greens really outweigh. So actually the entire market cap is up about 1% today. All right, I'll turn to you guys for Q&A. Now, what did I miss? The only thing I missed, Rosh gave me one. Thank you, appreciate it. What else is there? Sebastian asked about MTV, a go before the pump. Whenever you go look at the website. I have looked at Multivac, right? I don't know if it's from you or from someone else. I don't know. I looked at this before, and I don't know what's different, honestly, with them versus everyone else. So they're basically a fast blockchain that also implemented sharding, just like a dozen other projects. So I don't know what makes them different than everyone else, right? So I can't really tell you that at this point. What I can tell you is, it's on KuCoin, so that's good. It is back up to its previous highs. It's been out there, yeah. So I can't tell you beyond that. I haven't had a time to actually look at it. Maybe their team is spectacular, or maybe they have some good partnerships. But to me, at first glance, they look like any other project out there, right? And it's going to be hard to compete with the big boys that have all the network traction at this point. Synthetic, one of the things it's doing is tokenizing stocks, right? And now Binance has just integrated completely into it. Basically stole the idea and is doing it themselves. So I don't think Synthetic's dead. I mean, they're partnering up with a lot of other blockchains. So I think it's fine. But DeFi overall has been pretty stagnant, which is why they've been also pretty stagnant. They're definitely in a DeFi space. So I think they could come up. You just got to wait it out. Shout out from South Africa again. I read an article. Data will get a Coinbase listing soon. True. Those kind of articles are just predictions. I would not be surprised if Data gets listed, but there's no guarantees of that. No guarantees. Just rumorville. Miguel asked about Watt Restart Energy. So I'm guessing this is like an energy trading play. There's been a lot of projects over the years that's in this, including Power Ledger, which I really loved before. These projects are just really tough to grow. You have a lot of jurisdictions, a lot of countries, and stuff that you worry about. Energy trading is not easy. It's not easy. So I'm not a fan. Alpha CA, I know it seems like a joke, but it's the only leverage yield farming dApp on BTC. Well, that told me all I need to know, because leverage is dangerous. Yield farming, I think, to an extent is dangerous, and I'm not interested. So when you combine the two, I don't even want to look at it, but I appreciate it. Curator, I'm so on. Marketplace for all things. They have to prove themselves. And WaxP, NFT marketplace, I think they could do well. They were undervalued once upon a time. They came up quite a bit. So we'll see. Hoj is just a money grab copy of Doge, so don't like it. How did you become so knowledgeable in this field? Self-study. Just been in it for a long time. Been looking at projects for a long time. A lot of these projects came out of 2017 2018 ICO. But these days, there's a lot more. But yeah, just looking at a lot of projects. Can you look at Bounce? How do you think it'll do over long term? That sounds very familiar. Decentralized auction protocol gives a competitive swap environment to unlock potential of open finance. Yeah, I think they just basically they do swaps. They basically just do swaps. I don't know. There's a lot of swap projects left and right. There's so many swap projects, and every single chain is building a bridge so that you don't even have to swap. You could just bring over Ethereum. So I don't know. I don't really like it. I just got done talking about MWAT. So yeah. So if they're in the energy trading business, right? Under construction. That's even worse. Doesn't even show up. But if they're anything involved with energy trading service, then I would say it's gonna be too hard for them to take off. Why do you think TrueFi has such a small market cap? No one's paying attention to them. I actually think they have some potential. TrueFi is actually an extension of TrueUSD. So they actually create a use case for TrueUSD for basically decentralized voting of under collateralized loans or no collateralized loans. It's actually quite interesting. That's how Aave started. But I think just people haven't been paying attention to them. Side note, Raymond, appreciate that. Why on earth is CRO just not moving? A lot of people keep asking this. But, it's already bigger than almost every single exchange out there. It's at $5.1 billion. Besides Binance Coin, do you see any other exchange that is above $5 billion? The answer is no. The reason why is because they're already so big. They're not undervalued. They're just right. Other exchanges, if you look at their trading volume and what they have, they're actually much cheaper. So you could argue they're undervalued. But Crypto.com is not. That's the reason. Typhoon Network is a fork of Typhoon Tornado Cash. Okay. I wasn't a fan of Tornado Cash, so a fork of it, I don't think it's any better. But since you asked so nicely, let's just look at it. And just because it's 40 cents versus $25 doesn't make it better or undervalued, because it depends on the circulating supply and total supply, right? So that doesn't mean that it's any better. And I'm pretty sure you're asking me this because you want to get in because you're thinking it's go pump. But, yeah. Experimental relayer support is now available. Okay. How does it work? Deposit, transfer, withdraw. Yeah, that's pretty simple. It's just way too early. Way too early for me to even really look at it. What is your view on the current situation with Orion? Why is it down so much? Can it recover? Yes. It's kind of in a space of its own. There's not a lot of liquidity aggregators like Orion, at least the way they're doing it. They utilize brokers and hook up to basically all centralized exchanges and DEXs, and they have a nifty terminal, and they're utilizing partnerships to get things done. So, yeah, I think they'll come back. Hyper Jump FI. Okay, so they're not even listed yet. Hyperjump's first arcade game climbed the ranks by dodging and shooting away through Asteroid Armada. This was totally not what I'm envisioning. I was envisioning some kind of like get rich quick, yield farming or something like that. So this is actually a game, so it's actually a lot better than I expected. All right, so they have two tokens, Hyperburn and Hyper Alloy, and it's based on some game. And I do have DeFi as well. They have exchange and they have a farming app, and you could play it. Okay, sure, why not? If it becomes very, very, very catchy, yeah, then people will get into it. But the only thing is there's just too many like NFT games and stuff like that that's going on right now. So be careful. This is one of the reasons why NFTs is weaker recently, is because every single project these days is going after NFTs and they're diluting it, right? And they're evolving to gamified NFTs, gaming NFTs or whatever, right? So just gotta be careful. Be careful with that. YOP Finance, give me an opinion about a team and the focus of it. Thanks to a new web page. That's probably going to take too long. That's what George Token is for. One of the things to engage with me with George Token is that I could do a deeper dive and send you an email about it. So I would recommend to do that. My portfolio currently 65% Bitcoin, 25% ETH. Okay. The issue is with BTC, I don't want to split my whole BTC. Then don't. If you invest in some of these altcoins, the ones that do well and they grow enough, they'll naturally take away BTC dominance from your portfolio or your BTC ratio, right? But yeah, I can't really comment on your portfolio makeup, but it doesn't seem like you're following 50-25-25 rule. But you could balance it out with other ways. BCH and BSVs are not add-on to Bitcoin. They're basically money grab projects that's diluting the Bitcoin name. So I really do not like them. Really do not like them. Busy, I own zero storage. I don't know why you would think I own storage. Out of the storage plays, the only one that I do like is Arweave, because they're the backbone to Solana, and Solana is killing it right now, So Solana decided to just partner up with Arweave to utilize them as the storage play rather than come out with their own. So pretty good. 999 says, I lost 4K, now left with 2K. Please suggest something to recover your losses. Well, I suggest you to keep watching my videos and learn what I'm saying and build a good diversified portfolio rather than try to get into pumps or try to leverage. I think that's the way to do it. Not financial advice, just my opinion. What do you think about Seller? As a layer 2, they're kind of dead. No traction. All these other layer 2s have taken over, so not really a fan of Seller. Know about Matrix AI, not a fan of them either. Hedera, I think, is still interesting. I'm still not 100% sold, but the interview I had with Mance is pretty good. I'm going to release that next week, or I should say maybe later this week. But they're, the way they operate is still a little bit different, more corporate, more different than, say, an open source project, even though Mance thinks otherwise. So I like them, but more neutral. Thoughts on DEC, competitive BAT, token app use case, far more decentralized, better way to extracting value, big partners. Well, let's take a look, because BAT is pretty darn big and they do have big partners. So I don't know your way of saying better way of extracting data. I don't know if that's true. And looks like they have stalled quite a bit. And who are these big partners you're talking about? So, yeah, they're not even close to being done. So no, they don't even have their browser. Keep in mind, Bat has their Brave browser with millions of people on there, right? They have Tor integration already. This ad blocker, all this stuff is already done. Full release is into Q3. No, they're not going to compete with that. They're nowhere close of it. I think that's it. Anything else? Busy ass. How do you feel will happen? Well, what do you think will happen with Bitcoin when there's no more coins to mine? Do you believe miners will survive off of new? Yeah, keep in mind, the fees are a percentage, right? When there's no more coins to be mined, which it will be like in 100 years, because it's programmed after a certain point, it's just very, very little to be mined. But even if let's just theoretically say that, by that time, Bitcoin could be at 10 million or 100 million each. So to even collect a small percentage of the fees is more than worth it for the miners. So, and by that time, all the miners are billionaires or trillionaires anyway. So, I think it'll be just fine. Just fine. Have you checked out Engine's upcoming game, Age of Rust, on Steam? No, I have not. I have not had a chance to do so. I mean, Engine, regardless if they have that game or not, I really believe in Engine, one of the biggest NFT plays. And they have so much. They have their own ERC standard. They have their bridge coming out. They have their chain coming out. That's on Polkadot, and you know what? Being listed on Coinbase is huge. There's just a lot of stuff. Pirate chain ARRs. Okay, that's just so ridiculous. Orion, yeah, I talked about them. There's not a whole lot of competition in Orion. There's a few aggregators, but they work differently. Orion is utilizing brokers to get their liquidity, and they're going to offer more trading pairs in the future. I think that's the biggest thing that's holding them back, but they will be listing it in the near future. All right, guys, that is it. I'll let you guys go. You know what? Bitcoin is just straddling that 60,000 mark, right? Bitcoin is really like a cage bull at this point. It's really like a cage bull waiting to be released, or waiting to escape, or waiting to pop, to basically destroy the bears. That's what's happening right now. Obviously, there's a lot that's happening. The Coinbase IPO is very big, but there's MicroStrategy, there's technicals, there's Galaxy Digital, and you know what? There's just a whole lot of stuff coming. So yeah, it's just a matter of time. But in the meantime, all coins are doing pretty darn good. So if you're diversified, you have a good portfolio makeup, you're doing just fine. All right, guys, that's it. Thanks for tuning in. As always, smash the like, subscribe to the channel. Stay tuned for my stream tonight. All right, take care.